Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and today I'm here to bring you an original tag, and that's the Overwhelmed book tag. In honor of that, I didn't even put on my usual makeup to cover up the bags under my eyes because I'm just exhausted. I created this tag as a lens through which to express all of these emotions that I have seen other people express on BookTube and I've been feeling myself, and I just want to be able to talk about them, so this will be a very chatty tag video. Strap in, get some snacks, get a drink if that's your thing, and let's just get right into the prompts. The first prompt is, are you feeling overwhelmed? And if so, why are you feeling overwhelmed? This is definitely something that can take a lot to unpack. There are certain things that I think have contributed to this feeling, and I could sit here and probably list all of them. I probably will kind of hit on all of them at some point in this video. But overall, I think that the reason I'm really overwhelmed right now is a combination of the seasons are changing, so I'm always going to feel slightly worse at this point. I also feel like I have a lot of ideas for different things to do, but I don't have the time to execute them very well. And the pesky analytics page of the YouTube Studio app keeps telling me that people keep unsubscribing and nobody's really watching my videos, and that's just annoying. I wish that it was not the landing page to that app. I wish I could go right to the comment section so I could talk to the people who are interacting with my videos without knowing that other people are unsubscribing. When I've seen other people express similar concerns, I've seen them take a step back and take a break, sometimes just flat out quit BookTube because it wasn't something that was bringing them any joy anymore, and I want to make it really clear that that's not what's happening here. I'm not stopping, I'm not taking a break, because I do really love what I'm doing. I love reading books, I love making videos, and I love talking to people about books on the internet. However, at this point, I do wish I felt like what I do had more value to the community as a whole. Even if I make something that I feel is absolutely fantastic, this channel has been around for so long that the algorithm just knows that it's going to get very few views no matter what I post, so that's working against me. That's not its fault. It's not malicious, with the exception of the fact that they do downplay anything that has LGBTQ plus content and all that type of thing, but I'm not here to bitch about that specifically. Because I know my content isn't going to hit a lot of eyes in the YouTube itself, of course we share our videos far and wide on different platforms. That results in me feeling like I'm shouting into the void and also doesn't get a lot of views, and then I don't know what to do because I don't feel like I can shout anymore about the amazing thing I made without coming off like an asshole. This results in periods of me feeling like what I have to contribute is unwanted, when in reality it's just not reaching all of the folks who might appreciate it, and that's largely out of my hands, and that's really frustrating. I feel like that first prompt in this tag is a lot, so I just like to bring it right back to books in the second prompt, which is tell us about the TBR that is lurking over your shoulder. In my case, that's not literal. These aren't even my books. These are my roommate's books, but this is just the room that I have access to that has the best lighting for shooting videos. If you've ever lived with me, you know that my preference is to have books in every single room in the house. So my TBR pile, that in part could be why I'm feeling overwhelmed. Let me show you some of it. Of course, I have a lot of books downstairs in the second library that I have not read yet. I have acquired one way or the other, buying my own copy, pre-ordering things, getting them in giveaways, getting them from publishers, solicited or unsolicited, and other things that I just really want to get around to reading and just have not. Then of course we have my whole NetGalley TBR, which has gotten out of hand mostly because of the world that we live in and how I've had some stress from that, and then obviously have missed a lot of reading dates for getting them read before the books are actually out, and I'm still interested in reading them. I am going to read everything from that list. However, I definitely have not gotten around to doing that, and I feel guilty about it. And what's so bizarre about this is A, we read for fun, and I do read for fun. I try to pick up things that I know I'm at least going to like, if not love. So there's that aspect to it that makes this guilt so bizarre. Additionally, I read a lot. I am definitely trying my best. I'm almost up to 200 books for the year, and that's just so many, and I hate the fact that I feel down on myself for not having read all of the things when I have read so many of the things. I made sure when I was coming up with these prompts that you could use them on different bookish platforms, so it's not just YouTube. You can use this on Instagram or on your blog or that type of thing, which explains the wording of the third prompt, which is, how is video making / bookternet posting shaping your reading experience? And oh my goodness, of course we know that I wouldn't read as much as I do if it weren't for posting videos on BookTube every week, wrapping up everything I read. I don't have concrete numbers as to what I was reading before I decided to do weekly wrap-ups, but I feel the need that I have to finish at least one physical and one audiobook every single week. That's a thing I've been doing for almost 5 years now. I feel like I have to do more than that to make the videos interesting, because I feel like I'm not a real BookTube channel if I'm talking more about TV shows and movies in a week than I am about books, and that is a comment that has stuck with me because I had somebody not put me on a BookTuber list once because I sometimes talk about things other than books. Yeah, I like to post travel videos sometimes. Yeah, I like to talk about movies as well, because you know what? It's all stories. I love talking about stories and adventure, and I hate that that comment has stuck with me all these years, because ultimately whether or not I'm on one random person's booktuber list on the internet is not a deal breaker. It's not an indication of my worth, but it felt at the time like somebody was being like, no, we're not going to promote you whatsoever because you have nothing to bring to the community, and that just feels so sucky. In addition to reading more, it feels like there's this pressure to read the big things that people are reading, and that's a pressure I haven't felt as much. Sure, I've picked up some things because of BookTube. Why wouldn't I? That's why I watch videos, to learn about books. But there are certain big books that I just probably will never pick up because I have no interest in doing so, or if I do have an interest, it's very, very low compared to the other things I want to pick up. For example, my roommate is stunned that I haven't read Dune yet, even though she tried to read Dune and DNF'd it a really long time ago, as did Chad. And I'm like, you know what, that's one of those movies where I will probably watch the movie before reading it, because I have no inkling to go into reading that book. I've heard very mixed reviews. It's a very long book. And you know what? Apparently the adaptation is pretty good, and I'm gonna get the gist of it and I'll understand the pop culture reference of it without having to read it, and that's fine with me. I also know I'm overwhelmed because I can feel myself getting worked up about things, and one of my biggest fears is this video is going to go out and somebody is going to find it and just be mad that I'm whining about things, and that's not my intent. However, this is a place to unpack feelings of what it is like to be a bookish creator who puts so much effort and love into content and doesn't see as much a return on investment, if you will, than maybe other people. And I'm not putting down other people. I love a lot of other creators who are much more successful than me, and I'm happy for them. I just also could do with some more engagement. I love the people that engage with my videos. Seeing the same names pop up in my comments, even if they're just leaving an emoji, I love that so much. And that's another fear about talking about this. I don't want people who do interact with my content to feel like I don't value them. I do absolutely so much. It's just difficult when your hobby is sitting in a room by yourself talking to a camera, and you see other people doing that so successfully and having such a community based around them, and you feel like you're doing the same thing, but you don't have that same sense of people actually caring what you have to say. The fourth prompt is, what do you think you could do differently so you wouldn't be so overwhelmed? Obviously, I've talked about how some of this is out of my hands, but obviously there are things I can do to manage how I am feeling. One, just trying to skip the analytics page of YouTube altogether is something I am going to continue to try to do going forward. Obviously, it is the landing page on the YouTube Studio app, so like, it will always be there. I don't think there's a way to just make your landing page the comments, which is what my preference would be, because that's the only reason I really use the app, besides to grab the link for a video and download the thumbnail if I'm sharing it on different social media. I am intensely aware of how I should not be comparing myself to other people, and I don't try to do that consciously. However, because I do interact with so many other people's videos, I do see things like numbers, and I'm going to try my darndest to stop looking at those things. Maybe I need to watch all of the videos I watch on full screen, and then when I need to comment, just like very quickly go down to the comments, completely ignore how many other comments there are. Sometimes I love to read other people's comments to see if other people have the same thoughts as me. Maybe I shouldn't do that anymore, because maybe that is doing more harm to me than it is creating community with other people. I don't know. I also think I just need to constantly remind myself that I am doing this for me. I do really absolutely enjoy doing what I'm doing, and it doesn't matter if other people aren't there. This is a creative expression for me, so it is just a piece of art that I have put out there, and I should just probably stop paying attention at all to anything to do with numbers. That's not ever been my intent, to watch numbers, but they're just constantly in my face, and I wish they weren't. If you're a bookish creator and you felt similarly, and you have anything that you do that makes you not feel overwhelmed, please leave that in the comments below, because I would love to know other people's ways of just getting around this feeling that I've seen so many people have, and I don't think any of us want to have it. We just want to talk about books on the internet, and yet it becomes stressful when you put in a lot of effort and aren't feeling fulfilled by it. The fifth prompt is, do you have any projects you really want to do but something is holding you back? And yes, I've had a project that sometime near the beginning of the year I did a video where I talked about all of the different things that are on this channel, and I talked back then about how there is a secret project that I am starting in 2021. We are almost to the end of 2021. Have I started the project? Not really. I've done a little bit of the reading for it, but I haven't actually started planning what those videos are going to look like outside of I ordered a few things from the internet that will make the videos slightly more aesthetically appealing, but I have this giant fear that I'm going to put so much effort into creating these videos, and it's going to be quite a long video series just based on what it is. It has to be if it's going to be complete, and I have an incredibly huge fear that I am going to put all this effort into this series that I am very excited about, and nobody is going to watch those videos. And ultimately, if that happens and they are not well received and they're not well shared and nobody really seems to care about the project whatsoever, I'm going to have to come to this inevitable place of, do I continue the series because there's about 60 videos that need to go into that series to make it complete, or do I just abandon it because nobody cares, and then I feel like a failure because I didn't complete this big project that I was very, very excited to do. It's a project that once I start, I don't want to back down from doing the whole thing, and I'm especially feeling a lot of fear about this right now because I've been posting travel videos from my cross-Canada road trip, and I understand I'm a booktube channel primarily. I understand that in some people's minds you have to go to certain channels for only certain types of content. I get that, but those videos just are not being watched, and that kind of crushes my heart because I put a lot of effort and time into making these very short videos showing you what it's like to go across Canada and back on this massive road trip. And I probably have about 7 or 8 of those left to edit, and I just haven't been able to bring myself to do it because I'm watching the view count on those videos be about 40 views, and I'm like, okay, nobody values this, but I want to finish it because it's a valuable thing for me to be able to look back on years from now and be able to remember this road trip and all of the cool things that I saw and I did, all the spectacular views. Like, I feel like it is so valuable, but I don't know how to find a community that also feels like it's valuable. Whew, to brighten the mood a little bit once more, the sixth prompt is there a book or genre that brings you joy or takes you to a satisfying place? For me, I think that this is going to be contemporaries, not the hard-hitting ones, not the ones that are going to make you cry, but the like very heartfelt, more fluffy, although I kind of hate that word because it dismisses people's writing. That type of book where the intent is to make you happy. The intent is for you to come out of it with this nice, warm, glowy feeling to you. That is always something I can get behind and absolutely love, especially if it has certain things like found families and queer characters, and it's very inclusive. All of those things will grow my enjoyment and grow my happiness and my sense of being very, very very satisfied with what I'm reading. And then it doesn't have to be contemporary, it can be other genres, especially if it includes a bunch of the things that I love to see in books. But I think that for the purpose of just picking one genre, I think that contemporary is it. And then of course if I needed to pick a book that was going to do something like this, weirdly enough it's contemporary but it's hard hitting, and I think that it's just that it's very cathartic and full of hope. That would be Words in Deep Blue by Cath Crowley. It takes place in a bookstore, people are talking about books the whole time, so there's that. I think that any book that has to do a lot with books has that kind of place in my heart no matter what the genre is. But then that one also is very sad. If I'm feeling sad, I can get some of those feelings out without having to think about them too deeply, because sometimes you're just sad and you just need to cry, and that is a good book that will ultimately make me feel very satisfied at the end because it is full of hope and it does feel very hopeful when you're done all the crying. Prompt number 7 is how much does FOMO play into feeling overwhelmed? And it is a lot. Do you know how many Discord servers I have joined because they are bookish and I don't want to miss out on whatever might be happening there, even though I feel completely overwhelmed by Discord because there are so many channels, you can't keep up with all of them. Even if you're only in one server, sometimes there are so many different channels and you cannot keep up with them, and I don't understand how it feels like other people are doing that. They probably aren't, but it feels like other people are very active and I just can't be. Then if there's certain read-alongs that I can't join or readathons that I can't join because I want to do all the readathons, and that's just impossible. There were like 13 readathons in October that I would have loved to participate in, but I just could not because there were so many and I could not choose one, and me not choosing a readathon for a given month it just feels super weird. I think you could probably tell that in my October TBR because I was just like, I want to read spooky things, so I guess I'll just talk about some of them that I have. I definitely have a fear of missing out. I have a fear of not knowing what everybody else is talking about and not knowing the relevancy of it and being behind on the times and not knowing just what's happening. And I know we're not all expected to know everything about everything at all times, but I also have this weird fear where I will be more relevant the more that I know and the more that I can talk about, and ultimately a lot of that's out of my hands. Ultimately, this leads me into prompt number 8, which is there anything you do specifically because of BookTube or the BookTubeNet that you'd likely drop without it? And holy crap, yes. Firstly, this whole notion is the exact reason why I do not do book talk. I know that if I started doing book talk, I would be doing it primarily so I could send people to my YouTube channel, which I don't think would actually translate, and this would just be so much extra work in editing to create probably no transfer, and I would just be even more upset that I was not getting the results that I wanted, but then I would feel compelled and have to continue doing it in case I got even fewer views after I started doing that as a way to get people to come to this channel. Every time I post a BookTube video, there are so many places I go and put that link on the internet, and I have a giant fear that even though I don't see a lot of traffic from that, if I stop doing it, I will get even less traffic. And it's getting exhausting, honestly. For example, for years, I've been running 2 different engagement groups on YouTube. I was part of the Women Creators on YouTube group before I even started my channel, and I've been the only one posting the weekly playlist for years now. Additionally, I run BookTube Weekly, which is a weekly playlist of booktubers. The idea behind these groups being that anyone can watch the playlist, but if you put a video on the playlist, you also need to watch the playlist. So in addition to creating those playlists and curating them, I also have to watch them every week. Not to mention, I feel like there's at least 6 other Facebook groups that I put my link in. I tweeted on Twitter. I have a thread of all of the videos from this year. It's my pinned tweet at the top of my account, and I will change it yearly. There's also different Discord servers it goes in. It goes on Reddit. I share it on Instagram. I just share it everywhere where I'm on the internet and I can, basically. And I feel like if I stop doing any of that, I am going to see even fewer engagements with what I'm posting, which is obviously not ideal. When we make something like this, when we put ourselves out there, we want it to be interacted with, so I feel like, even though I know it's not driving a lot of things, I feel like I have to do every single one of these little steps. And I am on certain apps specifically because maybe people will find my account on that app and then maybe they will find my booktube channel from it. And that's why in terms of tracking my reading, not only do I write it down in a weekly format so I remember what to talk about in my weekly wrap-ups, I have a spreadsheet for the year. I am on Goodreads, I'm on the Storygraph, I'm on Litsy, I'm on the Book Sloth, I'm on 50 Book Pledge or My Book Pledge, whatever it's called. It's ending at the end of the year, so that's one less I'll have to update every single time I start or finish a book. And then also every time I start a book, I put it in a highlights reel on Instagram, just in case that might get more people to realize that I like books and I like talking about them, and oh yeah, I have a YouTube channel, I hope you check it out. Before I started making booktube videos, I definitely didn't have all of these accounts. I had Goodreads from years ago that I forgot was even a thing and then started using again once I started making bookish content. Obviously, tracking my reading isn't all bad. It is actually fun to me to look back on the stats and see what kind of things I'm reading, how much I got to read, what the page count was. All of these analytics are very fun, but only from a very removed standpoint. So looking at an entire month or entire year and comparing that to other years, that is interesting, but doing it in the moment is not. And finally, prompt number 5 is to tag at least 5 friends that you think could use some chill time. Ultimately, I don't think that this tag is a huge conversation starter because these conversations have been on BookTube for quite some time, but I feel like it is a way to just hone in on these topics and talk about them and find other people that have also been talking about them and kind of reflect on what other people are feeling, because this can feel very, very isolating. It can feel like maybe you're the only one feeling this way, and I know that's incorrect, which is partly why I created this tag. So in my opinion, everybody in the world could use some chill time, so if I'm putting you on this list, it isn't because I feel like you are feeling super overwhelmed. In some of these cases, I feel like you've shared some of these sentiments before, and maybe you would like to share them in this format. You don't have to, but you take the tag as you will. This section, I guess, also serves as a mini recommendation section for some friends of mine that I just think that other people should also check out. The first person I'm going to say is Bear from A2 Brody. They have been putting up a video every single day in October, and I know that they are enjoying that. I know that they are very excited about that project, but unless I dream this in a fugue state, I feel like I also saw them talking about how their subscriber count has gone down since I started posting daily and how that is very frustrating, and I have felt that frustration before, so I feel like this might be valuable for them. Additionally, I'd like to tag Zoe from Zoe's All Booked because she is a mom of 2 and a couple of fur babies, and she is busy, she's writing her novel. I'm sure that she could use some chill time, and honestly, I love watching her chat about anything, so if she can chat about any of these topics, I will be very satisfied. Next, I'd love to tag a couple of ladies who just recently had their first novels published, and I would love to kind of get their perspective on the community through that lens. The first one being Jean from Jean's Bookish Thoughts. She has published before, but she just published her first adult fantasy novel, and I am very excited to read it. It's down on one of my stacks of books to be read that I showed you earlier. The other person in this vein that I'd like to tag is Julie from Pages and Pens. I, at the time of recording this, am in the middle of reading her witchy fae fantasy book, and it got dirty a little while ago. That was good. Turns out I've been talking for so long that my completely charged battery is now completely dead and I had to switch to my backup. The final person I'm going to tag in this format of the video, although I'll probably tag more people down below, so be sure to check out that list, is Mers from Harpies in the Trees. She reads horror books with a supernatural focus and has amazing production quality on her videos and does some very incredibly creative videos as well, and I have a feeling that doing that can lead to a little bit of burnout because it is so much work, so I would love to see her perspective on this. Like I said, I'm going to tag some other people down below just because I would really love to see other people doing this tag. Obviously, when people create a tag, they want other people to also do it. So if you feel like doing this tag, please do this tag. If you don't have a BookTube channel but want to do it on a different platform, please feel free to do that. I am very excited for that to be anywhere. And then please let me know that you've done done it because I would love to check it out wherever it happens to be. Also, if this doesn't apply to you right now, but you know somebody else in your life who is feeling overwhelmed with their content creation, please send this to them so they can possibly participate. That's it for this video. I welcome all your thoughts and comments about it down below. On the way down to the comment section, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you were here, just leave me an emoji or a smiley face if you happen to be on your keyboard. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye. I'm so nervous that this is just going to come off whiny and people are going to think that I am a giant loser. Whew.